and welcome to Northridge High School this evening to our night of Accolade. I believe this is the third year that we've done this, my second being here, and I know you probably heard me say I have a lot of favorites, but this is really one of my favorite evenings here at Northridge High School. Tonight, we are going to recognize, we're trying to figure out the percentage, it's somewhere between probably about the top 1 or 2% of our graduating class academically. So, before we go any further, big hand for this group up here. Not only are we recognizing some of our best academically, but I think what makes this night extremely special is it recognizes what I've thought for a long time, and I make statements a lot in front of parents that I thank them for supporting Northridge High School, and I thank you so much for entrusting your children with us. And I kind of joke, but sometimes you just send them to us and we try not to screw it up because they're so good once they get here in many ways. And sometimes I say you send them to us and we try to polish it up just a little bit when they get here. But either way, we could not be who we are with our success without you and without the work that you do with your children before they get here and while they're here. The other reason I really like tonight is it truly does take an influence from a variety of different people for kids to navigate this world and find success. And so tonight is about those people, and that's what just gives me goosebumps, is you're gonna see a variety of different adults that have had an influence on these students up here and their ability to be successful. And I was looking through the program, and some names I recognize because there's several of our teachers which deserve to be there, and there's names I don't recognize, and those are the ones I can't wait to hear the story on why these students have picked those individuals. So that's something that's very special. That I think makes this program unique as we go through that. So in case we don't get an opportunity, as you look at the program, and opposite each student is the name of an adult that's made an impact. And so let's give a hand for all of those adults too. Before we proceed to working through the list of the students up here, I wanted to take a couple minutes. I talked about this probably represents the top 1 to 2% of our graduating class, but I want to recognize what really ends up being the top 2 academically in our class. Here at Northridge High School, we make a selection of a salutatorian, which is essentially the number 2 in the class, and the valedictorian, which is the number 1 in the class. And these 2 students are selected based on not just GPA, but weighted GPA. So if you don't know what a weighted GPA is, the GPA gets weighted heavier based on the difficulty of classes. So we look at AP, CE, honors classes is what we look at. We look at AP tests taken and tests passed, and we look at ACT as well. That's how they're measured. And you're going to find, as I read some stats here, there wasn't much separating these students. Both these students are pretty amazing. I want to take a minute and recognize them. First, our salutatorian, Zach Barrett. Why don't you come on up here? So, Zach, the worst part is this might be a little uncomfortable because I go through your stat sheet, so it's nothing embarrassing, believe me. So, Zach here is the 2023 salutatorian. He has a weighted GPA of 4.389. He's taken 6 AP classes, passed, he had 1 this year, I believe. He's passed 5 AP tests, so he was 5 for 5 going into this year. All of the classes, all the tests passed with a 5. If you don't know, 5 is the best score that you can get on an AP exam. He's taken 5 CE classes. He's our Sterling Scholar in math. He plays 9 musical instruments. I should add, I think you were unofficially voted the best looking student in a fedora. He can rock a fedora. He has the Heritage Scholarship, which is a full ride to BYU, Presidential Scholarship at Utah State University. Did you want to announce like which one you're taking?
Probably BYU.
Okay. It's a great school. It's a great school. Eagle Scout and a 35 on his ACT. So we want to congratulate Zach Barris for his work. In the 2023 valedictorian, Mason Thompson. So Mason has a weighted GPA of a 4.506. He's taken 11 AP tests, passed them all. The interesting thing about Mason is typically students take the AP class and then take the test. So I want you to figure this out. He's taken 11 AP tests, as I stated, and only taken 9 classes. So he just thought he'd go take a couple other tests without taking the class. 6 CE classes. He's the president of the National Honor Society, National Hispanic Scholar winner, top 5 National Military Child of the Year. Oh, another one. President Nelson Scholarship at BYU. He's a Science Learning Scholar, ACT score of 35, and he's recently been called to the Mexico City East Mission in Mexico. Okay, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. And this time I'm going to turn the time over to Assistant Principal Spencer Hansen.
Good evening. As you can see, we're going to call students here to my left, and our award recipients will come up from the right. So if we could start with Avery Coforth, come up, Coforth, and recognizing Ashley Keeks.
Okay. Ash is not only my dance coach, but she's part of my family as well. For more than half my life, she has watched me grow both physically and mentally throughout the years, and there are many hardships. For example, I had a pixie cut when I was 8. That was really tough, but she really helped me through that. She not only watched me, however, she guided me. Ashley kept me grounded when I was in crisis. She lent a shoulder for me to cry on or a familiar face to talk to when I was in need. Created some of my fondest memories and helped and continues to help me see the best in myself. She also makes me love coming to dance even when I hate it. Through her example, I've learned the discipline, the commitment, and selflessness required to be part of a team, in addition to the personal discipline and integrity required to be a good person. She has shaped me more than I think she realizes, and I wouldn't be who I am today without her.
Smith, recognizing Beverly Ostrom.
Okay, when I had Miss Ostrom my sophomore year of high school, she was one of the few adults I felt I could go to. Whether that be through schoolwork or personal life, she was always one to sit down with me when I had a hard time and explain things and teach me things that I didn't know. She wouldn't rush me or make me feel less than. She explained things to me in ways she knew I would understand. A lot of how she taught me has stayed with me throughout my classes because she was so helpful with what she chose to say and used certain analogies and scenarios she knew applied to my other classes. Not only was she prominent in my education, but at Northridge with my mental health as well. My junior year, I no longer had Miss Ostrom as a teacher, but I always knew I could go to her with whatever I needed. I struggled a lot with mental health junior year, and at one point it got really bad. I remember walking into her prep period one day hysterical and shaking, and she held my hand. She taught me breathing techniques and reminded me these feelings were only temporary. She walked me to the wellness center and sat me down and talked me through my problem. She made me feel like I could make it through anything that came my way. Ever since that day, I learned how to better navigate my mental health, and she always makes sure I know she's rooting for me.
Matt Stevenson, recognizing Raydon Anderson.
Mrs. Anderson has always inspired me. In the beginning, I'm sure that I was at a minimum obnoxious and at the worst one of her most annoying students. As time went on though, I'll always remember her as someone who was willing to help me out. She helped me set boundaries when I didn't want to. She taught me that even when the going gets rough, that giving up is never the answer. There are times when it seems like there is no happy ending, but she was there for me for the best and the worst parts of my time in high school. I know that she's been there for so many other students. She truly helped me to be the best possible person in high school, and I will be forever grateful for the memories that I made in her class. Mrs. Anderson has been the light in my darkness, and I know that she will continue to shine bright for many years to come.
Amanda Garcia, recognizing Marilyn Bexton.
I'm gonna cry, I'm sorry guys. So I want to thank you, Ms. Dexter. First time I've been saying your name right for many years. You taught me a lot how to speak English, since when I came here I didn't know any. You had patience with me while I was learning through that year in 6th grade. I had hardships and you were there for me. You let me cry with you in your classroom when I was hard, when the other kids were making fun of me because I didn't know English. And I'm really thankful for you too, for being there for me in my hard times. That was in 6th grade, and thank you for teaching me English. I really want to say that. Thank you so much.
Lily Christie, recognizing Derek Bittner.
I first want to say that Mr. Bittner was my first teacher in high school, and that he allowed me to open up my eyes to see different possibilities in a different career that I wasn't even thinking about. Through him, I was able to understand what it was like to program, and he always wanted us to push ourselves in order to, from just doing the bare minimum. And he genuinely cared about all the other students in our computer programming class. I had the opportunity of going to the Catalyst with him, and he was always very patient with all of us, being his first semester teaching cybersecurity there, and he also wanted us to learn from our mistakes. Thank you, Mr. Bittner.
Next we'll have Austin Oki.
I also have Bittner, and he looks the exact same as he did in 10th grade when I first had him. Same haircut and everything. Now, I've always known that I've always wanted to go into computer science, and I've known that since I found out that my dad was a software engineer. However, in school I've always struggled to find a class that exceeded my expectations to improve my skills and my development in this field. And everything changed in 10th grade when I had Mr. Bittner as my coding teacher. Now, Mr. Bittner has always challenged me to pursue my interests and pushed me to excel. During my cybersecurity class at the Catalyst, like he did, we were working on a website called Over the Wire, and that's basically a hacking website. You practice hacking. And after a particularly difficult level, which was level 25 out of 33, my friends and I decided to get distracted, as teenage guys do, And even despite our progress, Mr. Bittner encouraged us to continue and push forward. When I mentioned that we were already on level 25, he responded by saying, "Then do another one." Now, this story exemplifies how Mr. Bittner sets high expectations for his students and motivates them to surpass those standards. This semester, our final project for cybersecurity, my group decided to develop an app with cybersecurity tools in it. Even though Mr. Bittner knew that it wasn't feasible to finish by the end of the semester, he endorsed our idea. He pushed us. He recognized that it would provide valuable experience for our future, and he saw potential in us to become a potential business opportunity. Now, Mr. Bittner always prioritizes what he believes is best for us and our future, because he knows we are the future.
Asian Morris, recognizing Cindy Brager.
Mrs. Brager, before fourth grade, I struggled with reading books at my own level, and I had no idea what I was missing out on from my lack in reading. I still remember the day that you took me aside, though, and talked with me about the importance of reading, and I left that conversation with a stack of books in my hand that you challenged me to read. You introduced me to books that captured my imagination and challenged me to think critically. You encouraged me to read beyond my comfort zone and explore new genres. With your example every day, I learned to work harder and be a kinder person, and without your guidance and support, I wouldn't be the reader, the student, or the person that I am today.
Seth Ride, recognizing Deborah Carver.
Hello everyone, this is Deborah Carter. She was my English teacher in 9th grade and my advisory teacher in 7th and 8th grade. I had a lot of memories with her, and she was always a little strict in grading, but she was always really kind. I remember she would let me and one of my best friends always go into her back room and work on a puzzle together, and those were really fun times. I remember in 9th grade when I had her in English, she was really strict on grading. A lot of our other students, I don't like her grading, but that's okay. But there was one time, I don't know if she remembers, but she assigned us an essay on the Odyssey, to write something about the Odyssey with Odysseus and the monsters. But, and I didn't know how to do it. In junior high, I was a bit of a slacker. I just got by, just basically with the help of my parents, and didn't really do much. But I do remember how I was able to come to her, and whether she called me in or I took the initiative, I can't remember. But I remember sitting down with her and we just worked through that essay, and she helped me come up with some things, and I ended up getting a perfect score in that essay. And that essay right now does not make or break me graduating high school in 2 weeks, but it's important to me because it's one of the first times, or the first time, that I remember directly going to a teacher to get help, and that has helped me work harder and smarter and endure. And I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve, recognizing Jenny Christensen.
I would like to thank tonight is my drill coach, Jenny Christensen. I've known her since the summer before my sophomore year, and knowing her and being taught by her has truly been, Jenny has taught me so much about dance and performing, but more than anything, she has taught me how to be a better person. She has taught me to expect the best of people and to surround others with term Freude, which means finding joy in other people's success. In the year that I've known this term, it's been incredibly helpful to try and find joy in others' success, even if the result of their success means a disappointment for me. Freude has been a great thing to know and understand in drill, but also in school, work, and life in general. I'm beyond grateful for all the ways Jenny has pushed me. She's pushed me to be a better person and to do well in school. I'm so thankful for her endless support academically and for being someone I can always talk to, especially when my hard classes became more difficult. The support I've received and the things I've learned from Jenny are memories that I will cherish forever.
grade, we're recognizing Tracy Coles.
Okay, I would like to thank Mrs. Cole. She was my first grade teacher and she set a high standard for the rest of my teachers to come. She truly taught me how education can be both fun and informative. She would write me Post-it notes and I would write her back. And she wouldn't get mad at me for singing in the middle of her class. And she even sang with me on the school news because she knew how important it was to me. Even though I was behind in every subject, she made it feel like I was something that I shouldn't be ashamed of, rather a temporary bump in the road that I need to overcome. She always made learning a fun game. Thank you, Mrs. Cruz.
Melissa Bell, recognizing Suzanne Crawford.
I want to thank Ms. Crawford for everything she's done for me. Fourth grade came with new challenges. I would often beat myself up for not getting the highest of scores on my tests. During this time, the curriculum started to increase. And I remember we had several science tests that I would get really nervous for. Despite my efforts to study, I could never shake my nerves. Ms. Crawford was always there to comfort me and let me know that everything would be okay. Every Friday I would look forward to our yoga class. Through her meditation, she taught us to be mindful and accepting of ourselves. She always made sure that we felt loved and accepted. Because of that, I want to give a special thanks to Mrs. Crawford and all that she has taught me.
Recognizing Jennifer Cutler.
I nominated my coach Cutler as my mentor. She was my coach at North Davis Junior High for 3 years. She's like considered one of the cool teachers there, but not the cool teachers that will set you up for failure. She helps set you up for success. I was always close to her through these years, but in 9th grade when I was going through a lot of personal issues, she was always there that I could go to talk to. She always listened to me and would give me advice or just a place to sit and work things out. She became like one of my best friends and would help me develop bonds that I am very thankful for. She was always the one who knows something was up with me and would try to help fix the issues. Coach gave me pep talks to get my stuff together and clean up my act. She is one of the reasons why I'm here today. She helped me understand the reality of my future and what counts towards it. I have a lot of gratitude for you because you have become a part of my journey today. Thank you, Coach Cutler.
Cameron Boudreaux, recognizing Blaine Draper.
Alright, so tonight I chose my 6th grade teacher, Mr. Draper, because he helped me fall in love with learning and made me want to do my best with my schoolwork and work hard. I remember in his class he helped us learn through creative ways, like for example about the eye and light and how it works. He did this by letting us choose groups and be with our friends, and trusted 6th graders with cameras. And the cameras help to model the eye and how it takes in light and helps us see. And he did this by letting us take pictures of different interesting things like laser pointers and water and different cool reflections of ourselves. I remember him being patient with me because when I was in elementary school, I would get stressed out and frustrated if I didn't understand something to the point of tears. So I was that kid who would just start crying randomly in class. He helped be patient with me and slow down when I wasn't understanding so I could understand. And I'm glad he did that for me. Thank you.
Tonight, I would like to honor one of my elementary teachers, Mrs. Gordon. She is patient, positive, and makes every student she teaches feel important. She was always willing to help me and answer my questions. Her encouragement and praise kept me motivated and helped me want to keep improving. She makes learning fun, and her enthusiasm for education taught me to be excited about and love learning. This is something I will use throughout my whole life.
Her example of being caring, enthusiastic, patient, positive, and showing that every person is important are qualities I will try to emulate my entire life. Her influence is a major reason that I am here tonight. I am so grateful to have had you as a teacher. Thank you so much.
Joshua Young, recognizing Drew Griffin.
I've only known Brother Griffin for the past few months. Being a seminary teacher, you go throughout students after students, and students only get one teacher for about a semester. But in that semester that I've known him, he hasn't helped me with my academics, he's helped me with my life. I didn't study scriptures entirely too much before, but I had a question and I went to Brother Griffin and he brought me to a devotional at BYU. Going through and having his copy of that devotional and his annotations that he made to it, that changed my scripture study and how I view everything. But that's not the only thing. Every time I would go to him, he was always there to help, whether that be randomly after school or during lunch and made him miss his lunch. He was always there and always kind, happy to see everyone, and overall be joyful whether or not there was something in his life that wasn't exactly as joyful. And thank you, Brother Griffin, for all you've done.
Haley Diamond, recognizing Shannon Diamond.
Okay, so I told myself I wasn't going to cry, so let's hope I don't. I first just want to say thank you. You have always been there for me since sophomore year when I took your sports psychology class. You always made me see the bigger picture of why I was always taking these hard classes. You would let me come cry in your classroom after I would take a silly test that I thought I was going to fail. You taught me so much through the 3 years, and I feel more confident and happy because of the way you made me view things. I am so grateful for you, for everything you've done for me, and I will miss you most when I'm gone. I could go on and on about how much you improved my mental health and helped me improve my education. But I am going on to bigger things just because you believed in me and it made me believe in myself. I remember when you would tell me not to take so many classes because I was going to get burned out. Well, you were right. I did get burned out, but I appreciate you telling me these things because look at me now, I'm getting awarded this medal and it means the most to me. I want to say you mean the most and you really are an amazing teacher because you reach the hearts of kids and you reached mine. I love coming to see you every day, even though I don't have you as a teacher anymore. And I just want to say thank you.
Allie Johnson, recognizing Rebecca Hamlin.
I haven't seen you forever, but Rebecca, I just wanted to express my deepest gratitude for all that you have done for me. Your guidance and mentorship have been invaluable in helping me grow as a student and graduate from Davis Technical College in composites. I still remember when we first met at sophomore orientation and you invited me to be a student in the class when the one I wanted was full. That small gesture helped me start on the path of composites that I would not have had otherwise. Your example as a woman in a male-dominated technical field was truly inspiring to me. You were not only my teacher in composites at both Northridge and DTC, but you were also helping me to feel more comfortable at the DTC when I was surrounded by mostly older male students and teachers. Even when I no longer took your class during the school day, your room was always open to me. Sometimes to just talk, other times to begin a new project. You showed me that anything is possible with a little work and determination, and that there is no limits to what I can achieve. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to helping me succeed. I was able to achieve a certification in composite materials technology by the age of 17. This accomplishment would not have been possible without your support and guidance. Thank you for everything you've done for me, Rebecca. I will always be grateful for your mentorship and support, and I will continue to strive for excellence.
Cameron Adams, recognizing Caitlin Harding.
I chose to honor Mrs. Harding. my sophomore honors math teacher during 2020, the COVID year. That year was very difficult for me. Between my rigorous class schedule and the hybrid remote schedule, my personal drive and determination was at an all-time low. I was planning on taking average classes as a junior, hoping to simply just complete high school, bare minimum. When she noticed that I had general math written down for the next year, she came to me and asked me to take honors. She said, "What's the worst that can happen? You can always drop it." I ended up acing that class and setting me in a position to do better this last year, taking even harder classes. I took AP Calculus, AP Physics, and 4 other CE classes, doing well in each one. She taught me to always take a step back before doing something hard and ask myself, what's the worst that can happen? Thank you, Mrs. Harding.
Lee Jorgensen, recognizing Jared Harding.
Today, I would like to thank Mr. Harding for choosing to put up with me and the rest of the band kids for 3 years straight. And I'd also like to thank him for being a light in my life. No matter how sleep deprived or stressed out he may be, like on the band trip to California, he always has a smile on his face. Mr. Harding is so good at making us laugh and creating an environment where the band room is our safe place. He also has a love for music that is so profound, and my love for playing the flute, for being in band, and my love for music in general has only grown since having him as a band director. And I want to tell him thank you for all he has done for me. Even on my worst days, all I have to do is walk into the band room to see him dancing or playing Baby Shark on the recorder to make me smile.
Recognizing Rocky Harper.
Today I chose to honor my young men's advisor and good friend, Rock Harper. I've known him since I was very young, and for as long as I can remember, he has always taught me things I haven't learned anywhere else. He has taught me by example to be myself because he accepts people as they are, and nothing about you can make him think less of you. He's also taught me that I can do any hard things because I don't think I've ever seen him back down from a challenge to another. But the thing I admire most and look up to the most about him is how he trusts me to make my own decisions and to be myself. So thank you, Rock, for being an inspiration and mentor in my life. Thank you.
Bella Northern, recognizing Nancy Hilton.
Nancy was my bus driver, lunch lady, and PE teacher in kindergarten and first grade. Those years of school were kind of hard because I didn't have any friends in my class, and believe it or not, I was too shy to try and make any new ones. On these lonely, difficult days, I would get on the bus or get in the lunch line, and Nancy would greet me with a smile and listen to what I had to say. Oh gosh. I know she did this to every kid, but it meant so much to me. She taught me that I was someone who had value, and that people cared what I had to say for one of the very first times in my life. She was also one of the best examples of kindness, and she taught me the importance of being kind to others. She also taught me to love athletics, so I'm really glad she wasn't here 30 minutes ago when I fell down those stairs. These experiences with Nancy helped me grow into the person I am today, so thank you, Nancy.
Sydney Kendall, recognizing Melissa Hawks.
The teacher that has been most influential throughout my high school experience was Mrs. Hobbs. I have taken a few different classes from her, but the class I enjoyed most was CE Fashion Design last year. I've always loved art and design, and this class was focused immensely on using our creativity to design, draw, and assemble clothing. After taking that class, I officially decided that in college I wanted to major in art with an emphasis in graphic design. Mrs. Hobbs' class was always a fun and interactive environment, and she always pushed us to do our very best work. I'm grateful for that experience and the opportunity I've had to explore many different skills within that realm with the help of such a great mentor.
Amelia Bell, recognizing Jessica Oltry.
Okay, while I could write easily thousands of words of what Mrs. Holtree means to me, I still don't think it would be enough, but I'll try and sum it up. While many teachers in my life have influenced and pushed me academically, no one compares to how Mrs. Holtree has changed my life. She always admired my work ethic and drive to push myself to be the best I can, but would always tell me that my academic or physical achievements did not define my worth. She was more than a chemistry teacher, more than an environmental teacher. She showed me that loving yourself is more important than getting a good score on a test or a capital A's all lined up. She showed me what passion in your career really means, and while money is important, it cannot be your main motivator. You must find little things in your everyday life to be passionate about. Holtree has showed me that everyone deserves compassion and someone to care about them. Whether it's giving someone a Capri Sun, chocolate, goldfish, or even just a listening ear. Holtree always left space for others to come into her heart, and that is something I want to emulate as I become older and influential in other people's lives. So on the behalf of all of Northridge, thank you.
Hannah Covington.
I'm not the first student to recognize Mrs. Holtree, and I'm not going to be the last, and that's not a coincidence. I think everyone in this school has a Holtree story. Everyone has had a point where they were struggling with something personal, with school, just anything in their life, and they were able to turn to her. Even kids who haven't taken her class have a relationship with her. Her room is always full of kids, and her room is always full of love. She is more than just a teacher. She is a friend and a mentor. She is the teacher that I have learned the most lessons from, and the only teacher I've ever cried to about personal stuff. She has so much empathy and compassion for all those around her, and puts so much heart into everything she does. She is here because she cares, and it shows. Every student in the school has felt Holtree's love. She makes our school a better place. Holtree is the heart of our school. Thank you for giving every kid a person to turn to. Thank you for helping to bring out the best in everyone. And thank you for showing me how to give 110% to everything that I do. Our school wouldn't be the same without you. I love you.
Olivia Fernandez.
Okay, so the person I invited here tonight is also Mrs. Holtree. Definitely not going to be the last, but I would like to honor her because without her, I wouldn't be here tonight receiving this award. She personally called me knowing that I do not attend Northridge High School anymore because I have graduated early. When I answered the phone, she expressed that she wanted to make sure I got this opportunity and didn't miss out on this great achievement. This is just one of many things that she has done for me and other students at Northridge High. I have seen Mrs. Holtree help students graduate early, stay after school to help them with any work they need, and even keep snacks in her classroom for any student that is welcome to ensure that we are always taken care of in the best possible way. She's not only a teacher, but someone I hope to be more like as I continue my journey in life. I just want to take a moment to thank her and let her know how much I appreciate her and Northridge as well. Northridge High is so lucky to have her, and I wouldn't be surprised if any other students honoring her tonight as well. So thank you again, Ms. Holtree. I love you.
Mrs. Holtree has always been an inspiring role model for me because she taught me to speak up and use my voice. She took me from being a really shy student in her 10th grade chemistry class, and she inspired all of us to say what we believed in. And she also started a garden that she made us all work in, and she would always have quotes of the days and life stories. It was more than just learning chemistry. She was teaching us about real life, and I really appreciate that.
Every parent wants their child to do something music related. My parents were no different, and I was signed up to play the viola in 6th grade. Out of all, I've had many music teachers over the year, and one has stuck with me, and that is Miss Horn. For Miss Horn, music isn't just the instrument you play or the notes you read off a piece of paper, it's the connections you make along the way. Miss Horn was my orchestra director from 7th grade to 9th grade. She made orchestra a family, somewhere where we could grow together, play music together, find ourselves, and I've made some of my best memories during that time. She had to travel from school to school every single day just to share the same gift with every grade in Davis School District. Even though that must have been exhausting, she always greeted everyone with a smile. Now that I'm a senior, still in orchestra, and I can say that I confidently that I stuck with it, I can see just how important she was to me. Thank you for always putting so much care into your students and allowing them a place to be themselves. Thank you for coming into my life. I will never forget the sunshine you shone on the world.
Hudson Porter, recognizing Patty Horton.
Tonight, I chose to honor a good friend and amazing teacher, Patty Horton. Well, I was not a great student in junior high. I had narcissism issues, we'll say. She helped keep me grounded, and she taught me to be a leader in myself. After junior high, I went to high school, not really loving the experience that I was going to have. But she continued to allow us to come over to her house and help her with projects. Through these projects, I learned a lot of life skills that would be considered menial. Things that you think you should just know growing up. But over time, I realized that she wasn't teaching me how to fix sprinklers or dig holes or trenches. She was teaching me how to fully function as a person later in life. That is something I can never, ever repay you for. So I would like to say thank you on behalf of everybody that you have helped. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for helping everybody. Thank you for being there for me.
Logan Brown, recognizing Janae Howell.
Ms. Howell, the work you are doing is very important and appreciated. I chose you because your enthusiasm for math is very contagious and is what I needed in my education to find motivation. I cannot remember one day that you were ever sad for a second. You were always ready to dance and sing along with the music that plays before the party bell. Because of your personality, I learned that even though things are rough, we can go through it all with a great attitude. And from being in your class, I learned how deeply you care about your students and their academics and other interests. I hope that you're able to get as much out of teaching as the amount of effort that you put in every day, and thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you, Brandon, recognizing Carol Jacobs.
Guys, we're matching. I chose Mrs. Jacobs to show my gratitude to. She was my 5th grade teacher in Lincoln Elementary, and she was the best teacher there. She made everyone feel special, even if you weren't in her class. One of the best memories I had was the little dance breaks she had us do in her class. One time she put on Whip and Nay Nay, and we just did that for 3 minutes straight. It was great. But I'm glad that's just a memory now. Mrs. Jacobs made school fun, and I'm so glad I got to have her class.
Ashley Zolman, recognizing Kurt Jensen.
So I have never understood the concept of having a favorite teacher. To me, all my teachers I have had have been great. However, I have contradicted myself. I met Mr. Jensen 2 years ago. Little did I know he would become my favorite teacher. To be a favorite teacher, you need to have these 3 qualities. You need to be active in your students' learning. I recently have been working on a project. And at the beginning, it felt like Mr. Jensen had to hold my hand through every step. as if it was my first time in a machine shop. However, he was patient with my learning and answered my many, many questions. Second, a favorite teacher needs to be caring. I remember Mr. Jensen asking me if I was okay one day. This is the first time a teacher has asked me if I was okay, and this meant a lot to me and made my day a little bit better. Lastly, a favorite teacher needs to be fun. Mr. Jensen has some very interesting taste in music that makes his classroom so much fun, and he has an obsession, I'd say, jelly beans. I am happy to say I finally understand why kids have a favorite teacher. Thank you, Mr. Jensen, for being my favorite teacher and teaching me with a little bit of blood, sweat, and tears I can do anything.
Ever since the summer before 5th grade, Mr. Dan Patina has been a positive yet tough mentor in my scouting life. If you have belt loops without a belt, Mr. Dan will find one for you, even if it's a rope. If you are late to scouts, you'll be doing push-ups no matter what. Mr. Dan taught our troop how to survive in the wilderness by eating bugs, durian fruit, and prickly pear cactus, and by building improvised shelters. To complete my Eagle project, Mr. Dan taught me how to build water erosion bars for a local trail by using recycled tires, wooden beams, and carriage bolts. Then he demonstrated and helped my troop, and I dig trenches for the erosion bars and complete trail maintenance. Mr. Dan has taught me how to think on my feet, use available materials, and be creative with solutions. Mr. Dan, thank you.
Marcos Felipe Flores, recognizing Jonathan Lyon.
I would like to take this time to recognize Mr. Light, who was my junior high teacher, and he was also my robotics instructor. During my time there, I was struggling a lot in engineering, which he helped me out a lot, and sometimes I wouldn't say anything about it, but he would always be there. Even if I never told you, you were always there to help me out with my assignments, with all the constructions that we would be doing in engineering and all that. And what you also helped me find is what I wanted to do in life. How can I explain this? In the time that I was there with you, you helped me out kind of expand to what I want to become and what I want to do. And I just want you to keep doing that. Keep providing that light that you provided to me and to provide to other students, that anything is possible and that they can achieve it if they try. Thank you.
Every time I'm asked about my favorite grade or teacher, my heart goes back to Mrs. Lawrence's 5th grade class at Syracuse Arts Academy. I would not hesitate to call Mrs. Lawrence the perfect teacher. She has the unique and valuable skill of loving, challenging, and caring for every student regardless of their grade point average, skill set, attitude, or mutual respect for her. Because of Mrs. Lawrence, 5th grade was the year I learned to have compassion and to give grace. I will never forget the time Mrs. Lawrence canceled the day's agenda and spent the last few hours of class teaching us about kindness and respect. I don't recall the exact circumstances, but I remember making cards and writing notes and decorating the classroom with reminders to always act in kindness. After that day, my class felt a little bit more like a family, held together by mutual respect and concern for each other. There's a reason that Mrs. Lawrence still shines the brightest in my memory, even after 7 years of meeting amazing, life-changing teachers. Thank you, Northridge, for giving me the opportunity to honor one of my favorite people I've ever met. And thank you, Mrs. Lawrence, for being so deserving of praise. You are the reason I work so hard and love so much today.
McCaden Denny, recognizing Mark Wood.
My mentor is my neighbor, Mark Lloyd. My dad passed away when I was only 6 years old, so I've never grown up with a father figure present. However, when I met Mark, he instantly acted like a father towards me. He taught me while I was working out at his house that it's okay to have feelings. He showed me that I am strong and can tackle any obstacle that comes my way. He taught me the importance of self-respect and discipline, and he helped me discover the warrior inside of me, and I wouldn't be where I am today without him. I hope to be as great a dad and role model as he is one day. Thank you, Mark.
Oakley Squires recognizing Amber McCord.
So I didn't think I was going to be as tall as the microphone, but so sorry you can't see me. Amber is one of my biggest mentors. She's always looked after me. She's like my second mom, and she's gone through so much, and like going through all that, she still manages to like reach out and like make sure that everyone else is okay, and it's like I don't know, she always just puts other people first, and she sometimes needs to take time for herself and realize how important she is. And she has coached me through dance co and cheer and has made me fall in love with it all over again every year. And I have grown so much because of her. And not only do I get to have her as a coach, but I get to have her as an English teacher this year. And she's taught me so much, and she is always willing to work with every one of her students, no matter how much time it takes, and she'll be there whenever you need her. And I just am so grateful for all she's done for me, and I love you. Thank you.
Jackson Kaitner recognizing Brent McKnight.
So when I first found out I was doing this, I first went to Mr. McKnight because he is by far the best teacher I've ever had. Over the course of 3 years, he has not only been the best teacher, but a great mentor to me. I remember one specific project where Mr. McKnight taught me about how important teamwork and collaboration was in business. I was working on the Lagoon Funnel Cake project at the Catalyst Center, and my team tried 9 different funnel cakes made by the culinary team to see which would sell best in the park. And while we may have gained a few pounds, Mr. McKnight used the experience to teach us about working with others and the challenges that come with it. What I appreciate most about Mr. McKnight is his willingness to go above and beyond his job requirements. He has helped me with scholarships, prepared me for DECA and FBLA competitions, as well as many other things I have been able to do in high school, as well as even last week when our project for the senior cotillion at the Catalyst Center, he was moshing right there with the rest of us. Mr. McKnight has impacted many students over the years, and I am grateful to be one of them. I hope to be remembered by him as one of the students he has inspired, just as he will always be remembered as a great mentor in my life.
Lucy Bangs recognizing Shelby Nelson.
Mrs. Nelson was my AP Human Geography teacher in 9th grade. It's my first AP class, so it was a lot of work and pretty difficult. And then, of course, COVID hit and made it worse. But she was always there for me, and she gave me so much feedback on my assignments and left nice little compliments when I did well on them, and just urged me to keep going even when it was difficult. She always checked in on me, making sure that I was keeping up, and encouraged me to reach my full potential and even do things that were out of my comfort zone. She taught her class how to work hard and taught me like study skills and note-taking skills that I've used all through high school. She made learning fun, and she made everyone feel welcome in that class. Today I still consider Mrs. Nelson not just a great mentor and teacher, but a friend. Thank you.
Macy Thompson.
Not a lot of people know that my dad is in the Air Force, and even less people know how hard it is usually for me when he has to leave. Obviously, I like to think, that's why I'm here, and so sometimes my thoughts will go too far away at night thinking about stuff that could be happening to him while he's gone. But during one deployment, when I was in the 9th grade, Miss Nelson was my teacher, and she was my introduction into the world of AP, and I must have liked it because I took 10 more classes.
And she would always check up on me, and she knew that my dad was gone, and she would always make sure I was feeling okay and not feeling too stressed out. And she taught me how to work hard and how to set my mind to things and accomplish them. And then COVID hit, and even when it was through a Zoom video call, she didn't give up on us. She would call up on us and email us and check on how we were doing and make sure that we were doing all right, and she didn't give up on us. And Ms. Nelson taught me what a good teacher should be and what a good teacher is, and I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for her, so thank you.
Chloe Williams, recognizing Carly Norwood.
I'm super excited to recognize one of my mentors, Carly Norwood. She was my volleyball coach for 3 years at Sunset Junior High. Carly saw potential in me that, as a young teenager, I didn't initially recognize in myself. She helped me see this potential in myself and held me to high expectations so that potential could become a reality. She taught me the importance and value of hard work, and she taught me how to become mentally tough on and off the court. I will forever be grateful for the impact that you've had on my life and the person that I have become because of you. Thank you.
Kennedy Whitaker, recognizing Naomi Otsamena.
This is my golf coach. Coach Naya has seen me some of my proudest and hardest moments. Birdieing on my last hole as a senior to breaking down completely after practices. Biggest lesson. I've learned from her. Golf that leads into my everyday life. It's not belittle myself. She taught me how to stand up for myself and have negative thoughts in my head and when other people put me down. She has taught me how to believe that I am worthy and good enough for what I want and deal with in competition and in life's challenges. This has empowered me as a woman and has made me more motivated and less afraid to stand up for what I believe in.
Coach Taylor, recognizing Stephen Olson.
Courtney Taylor is an amazing
All right, first I have chosen to honor here tonight is Mr. Olson. While I was attending North Plain Junior High, I took many of his classes. The main classes that I had significant experiences in were creative coding and stage crew. These classes provided me many opportunities to learn valuable skills, and those profound characteristics of Mr. Olson. In creative coding, we had the privilege of learning how to create video games. And towards the end of the semester, Mr. Olson assigned our final project, which was to develop our own game. I eventually settled on an idea and began working on the project. As the semester drew closer to the end, I realized that the scope of my project was too large. I became very stressed because I thought I would not be able to finish and receive a bad grade. And this was 7th grade, so it was a pretty huge dilemma to me. But after discussing my issue with Mr. Olson, he helped me plan and execute a new project by the due date. This experience has stuck with me for a long time because Mr. Olson proved to me that he cared about my personal success and would go beyond what was necessary to demonstrate that. And within Stage Crew, we had the chance to help execute school events that helped take care of some of the technology at school. There were many times that Mr. Olson would show us how to properly turn off the sound system, set the microphone, or wrap up an extension cord. Every time, he always emphasized the importance of doing it right. And I really learned the value of that from Mr. Olson and have strived to incorporate that mindset in my various endeavors. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to thank Mr. Olson. He's extremely passionate about the things he teaches and creates a welcoming atmosphere in his classes. I would not have the foundation of skills and qualities that I do now without his guidance. Thanks, Mr. Olson.
And second, recognizing Delane Worth.
It has been 3 years since I've had the privilege of being in Mrs. Orr's classroom, and I had her all 3 years of junior high. And so when I learned I had the opportunity to honor a teacher tonight, I was super excited to show my gratitude for Mrs. Orr through everything that she taught me. Somewhere in those 3 years, whether it was actually doing engineering or making hot chocolate or s'mores on a too powerful heater, it was in Mrs. Orr's classroom that I decided that I wanted to be an aerospace engineer. She taught me about all different types of engineering, all the different branches, and I learned that aerospace was clearly the best. Not only that, she encouraged me to be creative and to think outside the box, as well as to always take the time to do my best work. Mrs. Orr pushed me to stretch my imagination and to continue, and she showed me how much fun engineering can be. As I continue my journey to becoming an engineer, I'll always be grateful to Mrs. Orr for setting this foundation for me.
Mrs. Otis has been my host advisor for 2 years. I told myself I wasn't going to cry.
She's molded and shaped me into who I am today and who I am becoming. She's taught me many skills that not only are useful in school, but useful in life. I learned how to become an outstanding leader by watching her lead by example. I've learned how to take risks and put others before myself. Mrs. Otis is not only a teacher, but a friend to all her students. She cares deeply for every single student she teaches. Mrs. Otis has truly impacted me and many other students in such a positive way. Okay.
Recognizing Karen Porter.
Mrs. Kornberg, thank you for being an amazing teacher. Even though my first grade year was about 11 years ago, I still remember the morning boogie that we did basically every day. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for teaching me that being weird is okay. And helping me realize the creativity inside me. For that, I am forever grateful.
I also chose Mrs. Kornberg. We were in the same class together, and there's one or two more people back there that were in the same class with us. And she helped me learn to like math. Thinking over this past year in statistics, that could have been helpful if I liked statistics a bit more. But she helped me learn to like reading. And reading throughout all my life, since I started liking it, has helped me learn in all aspects of my life and can help me learn in anything I want in anything, because I don't have to go to a class to read. And I feel like I'm missing some things that I wanted to say, so I'm going to look at this paper. I didn't wrestle this past year because I got injured, but when I was wrestling, she would help me with my wrestling fundraisers, and she would say hi to me when she saw me. And yeah, thank you, Ms. Kornberg.
I would like to nominate my junior high theater teacher, Carlin Salazar. She not only saw me for what I was back then, but what I could become. She, like everybody else, is not perfect. She's made mistakes, but she pushed all of us to do what we could do, which was the best. She gave us a safe place to learn. Specifically me, I had a lot of problems coming from 5th grade to 7th grade, and she helped me, gave me a safe place to learn, and invited me to push myself, like being a lead in the musical or joining the robotics club. She also instilled confidence in me for what I wanted to do. She pushed us what we wanted to do, not necessarily only her class, but with that confidence, I'm here today and I'm going to graduate high school.
Sister Samples always made me feel so loved and accepted during a year where I have never felt less so. I remember there was a day where all of my friends left me for lunch and I ate by myself, and I was still crying when I came to seminary. But 5 minutes after Sister Samples walked in, it was all forgotten. There were countless days and bad days and stressful mornings where I was able to come to her class and have fun or just learn, and her class gave me something to look forward to every other day because I knew it was a place where I could go and talk without being judged or laugh without being laughed at. She made an effort to know me and how I was doing, which always made me feel so heard and important. Sister Samples had showed me how to tough it out when things are hard and to be kind to people even when we don't agree. I'm so thankful for her example and the light she's been in my life.
Sydney Schroeder recognizing Kaden Schroeder.
I chose to honor my brother. Ever since I was a kid, he was always the person I turned to for advice about any academic question I had. He always made me strive to do my best and just work to be the greatest that I can be and following his example. I remember sophomore year, I was sitting there panicked about high school, just thinking what am I gonna do? How am I gonna get through this and everything? But he sat down with me for countless hours trying to figure out each year so I could get my schedules done, and especially to get my associate's degree. Even when he assured me, because I was really scared about my AP and CE classes, he reassured me that he would always be there to help. And even when he didn't know the answer to a question, he researched sources and after sources just to help me find that answer. I would have never strived to do the best in school had it not been for my brother. He has helped me with so much, and with our ongoing competitive banter that we always have, I was able to achieve my associate's degree. So thank you, and I love you.
Recognizing Cynthia Szymanski.
Mrs. Szymanski was my first grade teacher, and she taught me important lessons about accountability and discipline, especially for a little troublemaker like me. She was not only my teacher, but she was my director. I was lucky enough to have her at my elementary school because she believed in the importance of the arts, and not many other schools get that. She was my first director in my first show. And even though I've just finished show number 40 and counting, I would never forget the first. So thank you for giving me the opportunity and opening my eyes to the world I live in now and hope to live in for the rest of my life, the theater. Thank you for everything you still do for our community, raising the next generation of little thespians and giving them the safe space I had back when bullies were relentless and school was not the place a little boy wanted to be. And thank you for showing them, too, that the arts are important.
Mia Wagner, recognizing Tony Thacker.
I wanted to nominate my percussion teacher, Tony. Started taking from him end of 8th grade, and when I started percussion back in junior high, there was a lot of times that I was frustrated and I wanted to quit because I felt like I wasn't improving as fast as my classmates, and I had major stage fright, which I still haven't really gotten over. But it's through his instruction and support that I kept practicing and that I've been able to grow as a musician today. And I can tell that he really cares about his students, and I've been really grateful every day when I come into lessons, and he'll just ask how I'm doing, and I can tell that he really means it and cares. So I'm really grateful throughout my high school career for that. So thank you.
Okay, so I tend to push people away out of fear of getting hurt. This makes it really hard for me to trust other people, even if they just want to help me. This especially applies to someone when they're going to critique my writing, which is something I really pride myself in. But Mrs. Tucker wasn't just there to critique me. She was there to listen to things I was too scared to tell others. She was there to care about my goals that others shot down. She was there to support me through trials and accomplishments. She was there to help me regain confidence I had once lost. This boost encouraged me to share my poetry and lyrics. This boost made me believe that my dream of sharing my flowing words was not impossible. So thank you for being a safe and trustworthy person in my life, Mrs. Tucker.
Nicole Kirkwood, recognizing Kimberly Valencia.
Mrs. Valencia, you were my first teacher in a brand new school, and I was so scared and nervous. You were welcoming and kind. Each day you encouraged not only me, but the entire class to be our absolute best and try our very hardest. You encouraged success and achievements. Every month you would have us write. Every day I would strive to become something great in our notebooks. Our creative writing assignments would often involve an I believe prompt. You trained my brain to work hard and for me to be my best. One day when I was crying because I didn't think I could take a quiz in class, you helped me calm down and told me I could do it. One day I wrote a silly little poem for an assignment and you saw potential. You told me to keep going with my writing and encouraged me to work at it and get better. Today, writing poetry has become one of my hobbies that I love and continue to work on and develop. Thank you for always believing in me. Thank you for showing me that I can become something great.
Amy Luke, recognizing Sasha Vidic.
Oh gosh, okay. Sasha, over the years you have gone from being my coach to being my best friend on the soccer field. From the day I met you 5 or 6 years ago, you had unconditional love and support towards me that I hadn't felt from a coach ever in my life. Somehow, you always knew exactly what I needed to hear in the exact moment I needed to hear it. And somehow, you always knew what was best for me, whether that was in a situation with my health, a teammate, or my future. You were always there to make sure I ended up where I needed to be. You taught me how to have an unwavering strength and confidence in myself, and I know deep down in my heart that I would not be the player or the person I am today without you. You have made an incredible impact on me, and I couldn't be more grateful to have you in my life as a coach, a supporter, and a best friend. I will say this again, and I will say it forever. Thank you for making me the person that I am today.
Olivia V. Rom, recognizing Cindy Woodward.
So for everyone, this is the Cindy Woodward. Cindy Woodward has been a family friend, but she has also been my boss for the past 2 or 3 years. And she is someone I hope to have around for the rest of my life. For those of you who don't know Cindy, she is obviously very beautiful, but more importantly, she is so kind, resourceful, independent, strong, and someone I consider a good friend and an amazing example.
Cindy can always make me laugh, whether it's by pulling a prank on me or giving me random food that she's found in a random place and taken a very large bite out of. Cindy, I want to tell you I appreciate what you've done for me. You always make me feel seen. You make me feel heard. And by your example, you have made me stronger, kinder, more understanding, and a lot happier. Thank you for helping me grow my confidence and showing me what kind of person I want to grow up to be. You have helped me so much with my mental health. You have so much to make me feel like I am worth everything in the world. I want to say thank you and I love you.
Randy Garraway, recognizing Monica Shears.
Mrs. Shears was my 4th grade teacher at Adams Elementary. When I first moved here from Israel, I didn't know anyone, I didn't speak English very well, and I was scared of going to school. By the end of just 3 terms with Mrs. Shears, I loved school, and I loved coming to her 4th grade classroom every day. In AP Psych, I learned the importance of positive affirmations for a child, how positive words of kindness and encouragement have a huge influence on how a child develops. I can definitely say that the confidence I feel today is in part due to the positive affirmations I received as a little girl from Mrs. Shears. She made me feel special, told me I was smart, and said I was a fast learner. She took the time to look into my life, and for that I am forever grateful. She wrote in my yearbook, "You are the brightest light. If anyone can change this world for the better, it is you." Now, at the end of my senior year, I look back and remember my 4th grade homeroom teacher, Mrs. Shears, because it was she who was a light who made a world of difference to me. Thank you.
Sam Press, recognizing Karen Fox.
Even though one person could not be here tonight, I couldn't have chosen anyone else. Karen Potts was my first piano teacher. I started piano with her when I was 11, and since then she has changed my life for the better. I was struggling with the first eighth class I took in 9th grade. And when I went to piano, she could tell something was off. I told her that I was feeling overwhelmed, and she replied with these encouraging words. "Someday you will be glad you are taking the hard way. You are getting ahead of the game, and you should be so proud of yourself. I am proud of you." I never thought I was doing enough, but she always believed otherwise. Through music, she gave me the confidence I needed to let me know I can do hard things, which has transferred to my academic success as well. She has helped me to not give up, and I am so grateful to have her in my life, cheering me on and supporting me on not only my academic journey, but also in my life as well.
Priscilla Gillenstock, and she'll be recognizing Sherry West.
I decided to nominate the first teacher I ever had, Sherry West, or as I know her, Teacher Sherry. Teacher Sherry was my preschool teacher for 2 years. She was the teacher that made me love learning. Because of her, I was inspired to always do my best in school and try my very hardest. Not only has she made an impact on me, she has made a tremendous impact on my whole family. She has taught hundreds of kids, 15 of which have been my family members, including my siblings and cousins. She helped set an educational foundation for some of the smartest people I know. Teacher Sherry helped me believe that I was smart and I was able to accomplish anything I wanted to. Something she made us say every day in class was the phrase, "I can do hard things." I think this is a great motto everyone, not just preschoolers, can live by. So thank you, Teacher Sherry.
Recognizing Jill Morel.
Thank you, Ms. Morrow, for taking the time and care in creating a safe space for your students, especially for me during one of the darkest times of my life. I have always pushed myself to do more than what I needed to, believing that any failure would destroy me. During 9th grade, I was struggling with my mental health and felt alone. It was one of the hardest times for me. I started really enjoying my earth science class during this period of my life, and I had grown close to Ms. Morrow. The days I would have her class were some of the best for me. She She helped me grow a passion for learning instead of chasing points. I was excited to have a teacher who would listen to everything I had to say, ask, and just genuinely listen to me. Thank you for being a teacher who cared when I needed it the most.
So my mentor is not actually here. He just welcomed a child into the world, so that's pretty sweet for him. But I think we got him on FaceTime right there. So his name's Andy Rollins. He's been my cross-country coach for the past 4 years. When I first joined cross-country, I was not the best at it. I actually was horrible at it. And I was going to quit, but the way that Rollins treated me and the environment that he made with the team made me stick around. He's been there through, the bad races and the good races, and I definitely wouldn't be the man or the runner that I am today without him. He gave me a lot of opportunities, so I'd just like to take this opportunity to say thank you.
My coach isn't here right now because we just had a track meet and she's still there doing what she does best. So, so it said that behind every good team is a great coach. As I step to the line, my heart hammers and my chest and my mind are so jumbled with thoughts they begin to choke me. There's one person who understands that feeling. One person who has a deeper desire for my success other than my parents, and that one person knows my potential. The hours my coach spent developing my physical abilities are endless. She spent even more hours developing my mental resilience on and off the track. She would send texts with positive reinforcements. At practice, she would listen to my sorrows, and at races, she would physically jump up and down at my achievements. She once said, "I'm here to train people, and the performance times will come later." One conversation in spring 2022 changed the course of my life. Coach pulled me aside at a workout and asked what was going on with me. I danced around the question, but openly admitted I struggled with race anxiety. Her response could have not been more clear. She said, "Lizzie, it's not about you. It never has been." I am deeply thankful for my coach's passionate commitment to my growth. I love you, Coach T. Always and forever. Thank you.
Hey again. Lucas, will you come up here? She didn't make it announced, and I think that she is one of the most amazing teachers in our school. She's one of the only teachers I have met throughout my 12 years of schooling who actually has the intentions of teaching me rather than putting a textbook in front of me. She's always there for me whenever I need her, no matter what the situation is, whether it's school, whether I want to complain about math or a boy. She's always there for me, and I couldn't be more grateful for her.
That concludes our award section of the ceremony. One more round of applause for all our recipients. And now for some closing remarks by Principal Smith.
I hope this doesn't disappoint, and it did not. Now maybe you get a sense of why I love this evening. I'd like to leave a few words to this group. A couple thoughts that I had. I heard a couple of you mention, you didn't know if you'd ever be able to thank the person enough for what they did. You can. And my advice to you is just pay this forward. These students, I think about often, have had to grow up in what I call the technology and social media world. And parents sitting in here, you didn't, we didn't. And it's a tough world to navigate. Temptations. What bugs me the most is the vile, mean, unkind things that exist in the world. And I think the common theme that you heard tonight was about kindness. Every one of these people that you acknowledged was kind to you at some point. And I would just say it again, pay the kindness forward. You're going to have all the same opportunities they have. There will be people, young people, maybe older people, that you'll be able to influence and just pay it forward. I don't know if you're going to be able to change the world, but you'll be able to change pieces of the world. So just pay that forward. Last thing I want to recognize, I won't know all the names, but the committee that puts this together, would you please stand up? I think there's probably some that are out in the commons, because there's more than just the few that I saw stand up. Sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time as a principal, the best events that happen, you just stay out of the way and show up, and that's what I do for this event, and it couldn't have happened without it. It is all staff, Northridge staff, that put this together, so I couldn't go without thanking them. The last thing I know I'm supposed to remind, as we leave from here, out in the commons, there'll be refreshments for sure. There's places to stand and eat. You're welcome to stick around, visit, take all the pictures that you'd like, and enjoy the evening. One last time, I want to thank all the Northridge High teachers. I want to thank teachers in general, elementary teachers. I think you had to be shocked walking up here, and I don't even know if you could recognize some of these students when you came up here, but I have the utmost respect for teachers. I believe there is such thing as a heart of a teacher, and you saw it tonight. Parents, again, thank you, and students, thank you. Have a great evening.